right. Hello. Well, Kira, I'm very excited to have you here on Planners on Purpose podcast. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to really dig right in right now because I know you have a lot of fantastic things to share. But I want people to know a little bit about you. So can you tell us about you, your company, and how Virtual Event Experts came to be?
Yeah, so my name is Kera Wasserbach. I am the co-founder and owner of On the Edge Events, which specializes in live and some virtual events. And when virtual events started coming out, and I was kind of really feeling that they weren't being represented in the right way, I teamed up with two other event planners in the industry, and we decided to study and teach and help guide people in the experience of creating a virtual event. And that's kind of how the Virtual Event Experts was born. And it's been an amazing experience. I've teamed up with two other event planners, and we've just created this educational community and educational products to just help people to get, navigate this virtual world that we're kind of moving towards.
Right. And it's like we probably just hopped off a cliff, right? And
Yes.
here at this virtual events. And they existed before, but probably not in the capacity that they are now. So what has been like your biggest obstacle that you've seen you've seen other event professionals come into play when it comes to jumping in that virtual event space right now?
The biggest obstacle, I think, is just not being aware of all the different options that are out there and all the different things that you can do, because they can be very boring if you do them the wrong way. And so virtual events need to be an experience like a live event is an experience. And I think one of the biggest obstacles that occur is that people try to take their live experience and just transfer it into a Zoom meeting, and that just doesn't work. You have to utilize the benefits that you have being virtual for what they are in and of themselves, and take some of the aspects of that live engagement and community and excitement and bring that into it. But you have to do that strategically, and you really do have to treat it like its own event. Just because it's on a virtual stage doesn't mean that it's not as important or as much planning.
Right. And there's different questions I found too, just with virtual events that you need to ask, you're first starting out too. And I'm not sure if you've probably found that out as well. You just approach it in a different way.
Yeah, you definitely do. And there are a lot of benefits that you can use to make the virtual experience better, and a lot of ways that you can embrace that virtual experience. Like you and I, we're kind of talking face to face right now. At a live event, there's hundreds and hundreds of people, and you don't really get that feeling that I'm right inside your home right now. Like I'm here with you. And so embracing that and learning how to utilize that to your advantage is one of the most important things that you can do for a virtual event, to create that engagement and to really just embrace the whole virtual event experience.
Right. And I feel sometimes you have to embrace the roles that come out of that too, which I know we'll talk about that a little bit later. The role of the event planner has really changed a bit, and some people are uncomfortable with that. So I know we'll dig into that a little bit more. But what are some things, what are, let's say, the top three things that event planners and professionals just, need to know when it comes to planning virtual events?
I would say number one, it's really important that your audience stay engaged in a virtual event, because if they are in their own home, it's easy for them to get distracted. So creating opportunities to engage them and hold them accountable for being there is really, really important. Number two, virtual events are able to reach more people, and they also convert really well. So you need to have a strategy to implement both of those things. So don't walk into a virtual event expecting it to be the attendance that you get at a live event. You're probably going to get more people, and more people that you haven't been able to reach in the past. And you also really need to have that conversion strategy. If your client is going to offer a product or something like that at the end at a live event, a lot of times our role as event planner, we help them strategize that, but we don't take as active a role as we may need to in the virtual space, because this is unknown territory for a lot of people. And so we really need to be very much, our role as event planners is a strategist for virtual events. I think that's really important to remember. And the third thing is just make sure it's fun. You know, there are so many ways to gamify and make virtual events a fun experience.
Yes.
Treat your audience the same way you would treat them at a live event. Love on them, give them value, give them you know, engagement, and make sure that your clients understand that that is their job. You know, just moving it to a virtual space and doing a 3-day long Zoom meeting of you talking to them or your client talking
It
to their
doesn't.
audience, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that engagement you speak about, I just see that just being so true. Finding different ways for attendees to engage, for your speakers to be able to engage with their audience too. So, what are some ideas around that that you've seen be popular, kind of as we've been transitioning a little bit more into virtual? What are some ideas to keep things engaging and keeping everybody's attention?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that we've found, and this is through education and mentors and, you know, really searching and searching for a way to make these events more engaging, is the simplest act of utilizing your breakout rooms as if they were small tables at a live event. That is life changing. So when you have a virtual event, let's say you have a half-hour session, and then at the end of that session, you take a task or a question that people are going to share with their table, quote unquote, and you put them into small breakout rooms or 6 or 7 people, and you have them go round robin and share their experience. That creates this engagement and attachment to the session that you would not have had otherwise if you were just going to switch over to the next speaker. So that's a big way to create more engagement. Another one is just to, you know, reward people for engaging. Gamify the experience, give away prizes, give away swag, you know, have people wear their swag, mail them little emojis that they can wave in front of the camera. Just make it an engaging experience altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are, and I know I'm getting a little bit into tech speak though when I'm talking here, but many people, and I've had this question before, is what tools work the best for doing those breakouts? And I know it has to do with, you know, your audience and how many breakouts you're going to do, but do you have a couple of go-to tools that you would use for breakouts?
Yeah, we really love using Zoom. I mean, Zoom is the best tool. The thing is that having a production partner who is able to facilitate and manipulate Zoom a little bit, so that people don't get that Zoom fatigue. I know that's what's on everybody's lips now is, oh, everyone's got Zoom fatigue. You can easily battle Zoom fatigue. It doesn't have to look like a Zoom meeting. You can brand it. It can be really pretty. It can be customized to your client's needs, and then you can still break them out into those small groups. And Zoom is a great tool for that. You may need to run, if you have thousands of people, you may need to run multiple Zoom meetings. But really, I would advise you to hire someone, tell your client to hire someone who can handle the production of that, because you're going to have other tasks to do. So there are people in the lower range, and there are people who do a really high-end experience. They'll fly out, they'll create a little studio for your client. You just have to decide what's right for your client's budget and what they really need.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because no matter how many people I ask that question, Zoom seems to always be the top one when it comes for breakouts. But I know that's been a question that a lot of event planners need. And I just really commend you for saying, you know, hire someone to help you with this, because it definitely is, it is a learning curve, and you want to be able to put your best foot forward and know someone that's able to kind of manipulate Zoom to be able to work to your best advantage. And you have other things to worry about, which is the satisfaction of the full event, right?
Right. You would never provide AV for your client at a live event. You need to explain to them that a virtual event is just as important as a live event, and it is a part of their business plan. So if they want to invest in a virtual event and they want to hire an event planner is not your tech person.
Yes. Yes. So there's this debate that I've seen going on online, and it's the whole virtual events. We should not say virtual events. We should say online events. And I'm pretty sure that ship has sailed, but I want to know where you stand on the debate of virtual events versus saying online events.
So I don't really care for online events because it's just not as recognizable a term right now. People understand what a virtual event is, so use virtual events. But I never say virtual events without live in it. So I will say a live virtual event. I advertise my clients' events as live virtual events or live virtual experiences. I'll never say virtual without the live because it is a live experience. You're not just pre-recording a webinar, you're there in person and your client is serving their community in person.
Yes, I love that. Live virtual experiences. That sounds exactly what is happening right now.
Yeah.
So as we move into 2021, and it's really hard to think of it that way because we're already in August.
Right.
We're still back in March, but we are moving into this 2021. So where do you see virtual events going, or or live virtual experiences going as you venture into 2021? Are they increasing, decreasing? What do you see?
Yeah, I think they're here to stay and I think they're not going to go away. They're just going to get better and better and we're going to learn more ways to facilitate them. I really can't wait for live events to return because I'm very excited about the possibility of offering clients a hybrid experience where instead of in the past when you have a live event and you want to, monetize on the back end, you're selling live stream tickets and recordings. Now with the technology that's available and the familiarity that the average person has with virtual events and with Zoom and with the technology, the web-based technology, we can actually create a connective virtual experience instead of a live stream ticket where they're just watching the event. We can create opportunities for speakers to do Q&As with the virtual audience after they've walked off the stage with the live audience. We can have people breaking into breakout rooms at home while there's still live audience in person. So I think that's really the future of where events are headed. And I'm excited to kind of be on the front line of that and learn more about it and just really be able to offer that to our clients.
Yeah, I mean, and so, and I know I want to dig in a little bit more here because what I see is that event professionals in the past, definitely their role has changed. Um, and how do you see that changing into 2021 as well as these live virtual experiences are also changing? We have this whole situation where we have many millions, right, that are probably out of jobs right now in the
Yeah.
industry. And so when they do come back, it's a new world. Um, what, I guess, advice would you give them coming back in? What can they do now while they're sitting at home to get prepared for, you know, this new age of events? And just what would you suggest? What would be your advice for those that need to jump in this space, but they aren't capable to right now?
hmm Yeah, I would say just keep educating yourself. Know what's out there because even if you are one of those event planners who says, I never want to get into the virtual world, I really want to stick with live events only, and I'm just going to wait until they come back, they're probably going to come back with some kind of virtual aspect. And your role now as an event coordinator is as an expert.
Mhm.
It's not as just a coordinator. You're not just putting together details, reaching out to speakers, doing the back logistics. People are looking to you for advice. And so, even if your role with virtual events only ever goes as far as to give recommendations, you need to be educated in that space.
Mhm.
So, to create a live virtual experience, you need to know what that entails and you need to know how to bring it to your client if it's something that they want. And that could be as simple as outsourcing that part of it and you just handle the live part. But you just need to make sure that you're aware of the possibilities that are out there. And honestly, once you delve in, I do think you're going to love it because there is so much opportunity
Mhm.
to manipulate and use this in whatever way that you want.
Mhm.
So I think there's something out there for everyone.
Yeah, I totally agree. And uh, I guess you have to be able to scale too. You
Mm-hmm.
can't stay stagnant with what has always worked for you before when it comes to these experiences. You have to be able to scale upward, scale your client upward so that they're not, right, just kind of in the background or behind the game. So we definitely want to make sure that we're pushing our clients forward to be their best selves, have their best events as well. And with that, you need that education about
Yeah.
be able to offer, how to consult with them to pick the right technologies for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what I know we talked a little bit about Zoom with breakouts, but depending on how an event is, if they're doing a small event or larger event or what it's encompassed of, there are different technologies that are available. So can you give our audience some kind of a sneak peek at some technologies that you feel that will work best in the virtual space, or provide them with a resource that would help them be consultative with their client?
Yeah, so it's really important to understand that live virtual experiences can be taking place in almost any platform. So if you're running an online challenge or a virtual retreat, it can be as simple as using a Facebook group. You don't have to necessarily use Zoom if that's not your preference. You don't have to necessarily create that kind of technology. You can also, there is a technology out there, it's called Remo, and that's great for your smaller events where you're maybe not doing as many breakouts, but it's set up with a table layout. And so people get to pick what table that they're at, and they can hop from table to table and kind of interact. So it's really good for small networking groups. And when your speaker is on, you see the speaker as if you're looking at a Zoom room. But when the speaker comes off the stage, you are back at your table. And so you're looking at the people at your table. So that's a really interesting technology. And, there are other technologies out there where there's Hopin, that's a great one. And that, it's just a little more branded and everything's kind of in one space than Zoom. But really, I do recommend sticking with the basics. You want to tell your client that a fancy, flashy technology is not as important as their audience being able to use the technology. So the simpler it is for the audience, the better it is for you. So what you want to create is using the technology that they know how to use and learning how to use it to your advantage.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love that. Using the technologies that they know how to use and just making it work to your advantage. That's great advice. So tell me about the unique virtual experiences that virtual event experts has been doing. What are your clients doing right now, if you're able to share?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have run some challenges, some live challenges where people have learned how to do things in 5 or 6 days. And those are really fun. We bring in guest speakers, we give training, and then we have our own virtual event that we do. And that we have one that just took place in July, and we have another one coming up in September, and that we show them how to run a virtual event while also having the event and educating them about it. So that's super fun. And we do dance parties and breakouts. Yeah. We've done virtual retreats where we have someone come in and do an exercise training in the morning, and then we do a coffee chat and get kind of deep and, start off our day that way. And then we have exercises throughout the day that they do. And then we meet up again for a cocktail party. So it really is whatever kind of experience you want to create, you can create it in a virtual space. Just make sure you're getting the right people to do that, because not everyone is experienced in the virtual space. So if you want a yoga instructor to come in and do a yoga class before your sessions start, make sure it's a yoga instructor who has done online yoga classes before. So that kind of thing. You can create any experience that you want, truly.
Yeah, well, tell me a bit more about this workshop in September that you're speaking of. If there's anyone from this audience that would like to participate in that, how would they go forward in doing that?
Yeah, it's called Epic Online Experiences. And we basically, for 2 days, we have back-to-back training and also just fun things going on. And we kind of show you how to run a virtual event while we're teaching you how to run a virtual event. So we're doing all the things in the virtual event that we are teaching you to do. So you get to see it and experience it firsthand as if you were an audience, and also learn as an event planner how to coordinate that for your client. So It's really fun to do. And that's coming up September 16th and 17th.
Perfect. So does one go to virtual event experts for that, or is it
Yep. You
okay?
can find it on virtualeventexperts.com, and then the actual website for the event is
Oh, okay. So I have
epiconlineexperiences.com.
the
Yep.
website.
But you can get there either way. All
Nice.
roads lead back.
Well, great. Well, I hope planners take advantage of it. Just so I feel like with this whole experience, the best thing to do is just hop in, right? Just
Yes.
then learn it so you can be more value to your customers, to your clients, and to your employers for sure.
Yep. Just learn it. You might find that there are so many things and so many ideas that you come up with that'll set you apart to your clients, and you're able to give them something that really a lot of people, a lot of event planners out there aren't offering right now. So if you go ahead and educate yourself on that, then you can offer them experiences that they may not have gotten somewhere else, and that's really important to do for our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always like to ask this question. You have your own business, you have virtual event experts as a business. How do you yourself just manage it all? And what tips can you give to some of our audience when it comes to managing multiple priorities?
Yeah, so it is definitely a whirlwind. It's busy and it's crazy, but I love to brain dump in the morning, and I do it every morning. I'm almost obsessive about it. I write down all the things that I want to do, my long term, my short term, what I want that day, what I want that week, and then I organize it into the things that I need to get done first. And I keep the list, and I look at them week to week. At the end of the week, I take that list, I look at the next week, and if there's something sitting there and it's been sitting there for a while, you question, is this still a priority for me? Am I
Right.
still working on this? So I think it's just really important to continue to push forward in everything that you do, and don't say no to any opportunities. Just go ahead and keep pushing forward. And if you find that it's no longer a priority for you, that's when you drop it. But, always give stuff a try.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So, how do you restore yourself after, going all in? You're, doing these virtual events, and sometimes I feel like you have to be probably more there for the virtual ones than you are for the person ones. But how do you restore yourself after going all in for any type of event you're managing?
I really do the same thing I do for a live event. My ritual is I schedule the day after as a me day. And, there's always a lot of wrapping up to do and stuff. So sometimes I'll schedule it out a week so that I get that wrap up time. But it's a day where I literally do nothing. I lay in bed, I read, I watch mindless TV. Or if I'm at the hotel, I'll order room service. If I'm at home, I'll order delivery. I just make it a day all about me and whatever I want to do. Maybe go for a hike, whatever is your way to relax. I think it's important to schedule that, turn off your phone, and make sure that you're taking that time to really recoup.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a speaker that I, way back in the day, and he always said that he took the day after his event to just, like you said, his time, just doing things for him before he traveled home. And I feel like even with these virtual experiences, since we're in the virtual world so much more, it's just similar to what you're saying. Take that next day, do something
Yeah.
just for you. Hmm.
And book a hotel, treat it like a live event. If you have a really big virtual event and you have a hotel, it's going to be good Wi-Fi connection, you're going to be able to do your work there. Go ahead and book the hotel for the event and stay that extra day.
Yeah.
I always stay an extra day after my events, and that's when I do my room service ritual. I'm not a sweets person, but after an event, I don't know if it's a running the whole time or something, I always want dessert.
Oh, yes.
Right? So that's kind of my thing. I order my dessert and I just chill out in the hotel room, and that's how I unwind.
Oh gosh, that sounds so dessert and a glass of wine. I'll have to add on.
Yes. If they have a great bathtub, that's always a plus too.
Oh, yes. Have to know how to do it. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's been wonderful just talking to you about virtual. It definitely is our world right now.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you, what are some last words of advice that you have for our listeners of this podcast?
Yeah, my advice would just be to learn the opportunities out there. I mean, I know I've stated that a lot during this episode and during this interview, but I just feel that it's so important to make sure that you're aware of what's going on, even if you don't necessarily embrace it. And I know a lot of us are really stuck right now, and it's really hard because this is our passion and we're not able to do it and we're not able to travel and serve our clients in that way. But the way to get unstuck is to embrace what's moving forward, and that is partially virtual events. So make sure that you're getting in there and you're learning this stuff, even if it's just, listening to a couple trainings online and having that in the background. Just make sure you're in the game, in the headspace, so that you can answer questions when they come your way.
Great. Yes. Make sure you are in the game, everybody. So if you're sitting at home, you currently are unemployed, make sure you're learning and you're doing everything that you can do in order to stay in this game. So thank you, Kera, so very much. One last time. And if anyone needs to contact you or would love your expertise, where do they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. It's just Kera Wasserbach, at Kera.Wasserbach. And, reach out to me anytime. Send me a message or go to the virtualeventexperts.com. We've got a lot of different levels of service, ways we can serve you, ways we can help.
Lovely. Well, thanks so much for being a guest. I really appreciate having you. It's been wonderful to talk to you, and good luck with all those virtual events you're planning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.